Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the England Athletics webinar on benefits of going cashless. We've got myself, Nick Settle, and Steph Mallander on the club support managers. I cover the Northwest and Steph covers the Midlands. Steph's going to be looking after the IT side of things, so any questions coming through or anything like that, she'll pop up. So she just said hello to everyone in the chat box. We've also got Glyn from Horwich Harriers, who is going to maybe take any particular questions, because we've got a couple of slides just to share some good practice what Glyn and the club are doing down in Horwich, and he's just put hello in the comment box as well, so that's great. So the format of today, we're just going to look at the general benefits and why potentially you'd look to go cashless. Looking at a few different platforms and providers out there, just to sort of see if they're suitable for your club. We've got a couple of different examples of how clubs are using contactless payments and how effective they're being within the club. So that hopefully that should be useful for yourselves. And then finally is basically how it's being implemented in clubs, and how potentially you can implement this kind of learning from tonight back into your club. Oh yeah, and we just had a quick question. The slides will be sent out via email after this, and we'll also record this webinar so you can re-watch it as well. Okay, excellent. So basically the first part, and actually in each part, guys, I'm going to sort of do a question. So if you want to pre-populate the questions, so from the 4 kind of sections, I'll just take a break and see if there's any questions per section, and then we'll move on. So if you want to pre-populate them, so we don't have to spend too much time waiting and typing, feel free to pop that in, and then Steph will bring them up for us. Okay, excellent. So first section, general benefits. So probably four key elements here. So obviously, it should take less time and effort collecting the monies off club officials, so membership secretaries and treasurers, etc. Quick and easy for members to make payments to the club. So probably the 4 clubs which I spoke to with cashless systems, their members were really happy with how the club operated in there. From a club's point of view as well, the regular and more income, and we'll touch on the more income later on in the slides, but there's a couple of clubs with good examples where when they've gone cashless, they've actually received more revenue from, say, weekly subs and so on. And then probably the big one for me is sort of safeguarding. So it's kind of the lower the risk and make it as safe as possible for club officials to collect money. So, you know, if we've got an example of somebody collecting £2 per athlete coming onto a track, or it could be, you know, a road running club collecting that. If you've got 100 or 200 athletes turning up per night, you've got that individual potentially carrying kind of you know, in the region of £400 to £500. So it's quite a large amount to carry on one night, and could be very vulnerable, that person in that position. So, you know, we're going to talk about items, what you can put into place, and processes which could help that individual and help the club. Okay. This next slide, obviously, there's probably three areas what we're going to cover tonight. So the annual membership of how you can collect that, the weekly subs, and the kind of the shop, we've called it. So kind of your food and drink, or any kit and equipment what you might sell. So we'll kind of touch on them elements, and probably from a typical kind of club point of view, and we've kind of based this on a sort of a 200 to 300 membership, where, you know, annual membership could be you know, 5 to 10,000, weekly subs in the region of 10 to 15,000, and then the kind of the tuck shop or kit and equipment what you sell could be in the region of 5 to 10. So there is a lot of transactions and money being pumped into the club, and what are the effective ways to do that cashless. So that's kind of brought me to the next section. So does anybody have any questions just based on that kind of introduction before we get going? Brill. No one's typing, so no questions are coming at me, so that's great. So this bit, we're going to talk about the different platforms and providers out there. So we'll start from the top. Obviously, you've got the England Athletics membership portal, or the secretary portal, which is basically free of charge for affiliated clubs to utilise, and it's a great way of collecting your annual membership. So the only item what you would have to pay is the gateway fee, or the merchant's transaction, which pretty much every platform you would use to collect something online would have that charge in there anyway. So we've got a couple of slides on kind of how you set up that further on in the presentation, so I'll talk about that. We've also got, under the England Athletics kind of family, is the Run Together platform. What we've got for social running groups and any type of running group, where you can sort of take weekly registers and upload your runs on, and there's basically a function on there where you can take payments for weekly subs. So if you've got kind of a 10-week block program, you could take £10, £1 a week, or if it was rolling subs, they can do that. So there is a function there to, again, a free function to take your weekly subs with EA, but with that gateway and transaction fee. And then probably the other two which I've worked with clubs locally would be the Membership Mojo. There's a fair few clubs within the Northwest who I work with who are using this platform. Again, it depends on your membership, the cost. So we've got an example where there's a club with who has a 500 membership, so they're paying about £140 per year. But again, it just depends on your membership, and that one collects annual memberships, but not weekly subs. And then there's a Coacher, which costs £25 a month, and that uses Stripe as a gateway payment, and that's able to take an annual and a subs payment as well. And then lastly, we've got the standing order, which I'm sure many of you are aware of that and have standing orders from a personal point of view. But this is basically a free way of collecting money, and we've got Glyn from Horwich Harriers, who's basically got a really good example of how their clubs implemented that at their end. So that's kind of give you a flavour of potentially what platforms are out there. So that was that slide. And then from, like I said before, the actual secretary's portal itself. So there's a bit of a screenshot of the page there. Basically free for all England Athletics members. There's around about 350 clubs utilising this function at the moment. So it's not a bad number of clubs, but we've got about 1,300, 400 members. So we've still got scope for utilising that system further. You need to create a zip pay, a pay zip account. With that, you can do that through the portal, so that's easy to set up. And then also you can contact the members to pay online, and we'll talk about the processes quickly on that, because we've got quite a lot of other content to cover. And just to let you know, we've got a webinar coming up, a full webinar on how to utilise the Secretary's portal, and I'll give further details about that later on in the presentation. If you can just see on the left-hand side of the PowerPoint slide, you can see that there's kind of two red boxes which I've highlighted. They're the two functions which I'll be talking about. So adding a member. So that's just basically, we're on that page there, and you can just fill in the details. So obviously, if I'm talking to sort of membership secretaries at the moment, you'll be fully aware of that function. So that'd be great. And then the one below, where you've got pay club membership, that's the process what we're going to talk about. And the pay zip is the function at the bottom here, which is the settings page. So you just need to go into there to set up the account. So basically, to set up the pay zip account, which would probably be the first protocol, is there's basically 10 points really how to do it. These points are on the secretary's portal in the frequently asked questions. So these slides will be sent out. There'll be a recording, and they'll be in the frequently asked questions. So there'll be a step-by-step guide. But basically, click on the settings button, go into the ZipPay settings account, enter your club's info, create your Pay Zip organization ID, then set up your bank details, enter your bank details, and click save, and you've pretty much set up your ZipPay. Keep on calling it ZipPay. Pay Zip account then. So that basically gives you the foundation to start contacting your members to start getting that payment. And then on the next slide, this is basically the slide of how you collect your membership online through your members. So obviously, again, log into the portal, click pay club memberships, which was on that screen before, and then basically select the people who you want to send that information out down the list, and make sure you're happy with that. That will get sent out to the individuals. The individuals will have a sort of a unique link, so they will go on, pay that amount. That amount, if they're wanting to become an England athlete, that payment will come direct to England Athletics, and then the remaining funds will go to the club's account through a backed process. So quite a straightforward process, really, to do. And then we've got the info there. So it's going to be on Thursday, the 14th of May, 11 o'clock till 6 o'clock. We haven't actually advertised it yet. I just wanted to put it in there just to keep you updated. It will be getting updated in the next couple of days, and we'll keep you posted on that when you can book on and sign on to the webinar. Lovely. Brill. Before I go into club examples, does anybody have any particular questions on that side of things? Okay, I can see no one typing, so no questions. So fingers crossed, everyone's happy with the information I'm providing you. So we're going to move on to club examples now. As I said, we've got Glyn from Horwich Harriers. They basically have basically use our membership portal to collect their fee. Obviously, it's a free of charge, and they pay the gateway fee. The club feels the benefits are, it handles the payments easily for them, sends out reminders to club members, provides them with a register of membership so they can keep up to date with who's paid. And they found there was a quicker payment for members, and going from cash. So instead of getting it through check or cash and so on, it was just basically they could do it at home, and they didn't have to come to the club and drop off the money. And then from this point of view, from the weekly system they've got in place, they use a standing order process. They ask their members to set up this monthly standing order on the 1st and 7th of the month. And that's, again, free of charge, no gateway fee. So that's completely free, and they're getting 100% of that money. And then the payment, the actual membership secretary would cross-reference that. So every monthly statement they get, they will then have a look just to see who's keeping up to date. And their policy is, if you sign up as a member, and this is more to do with the junior side, if you're a junior side, you pay your annual sub and then set up a standing order. And then for them, the benefits of utilising this process is that there's not much admin involved. It's pretty much at the user end, they supply the bank details for them to go and set it up. There's more income coming in, so they've had a look at their accounts, and they say there's around about just under £10,000 per year that they're getting more than going cashless than cash, and that's just basically people kind of turning up if and when, and they're not paying the subs, and it's hard to keep track because they were paying the coaches and so on. And now it's kind of on a monthly basis. They've got that coming in. I did a Club 360 club review with them quite recently, so I spent a lot of time with the club, and I had a quick chat with a fair few parents on club visits, and they were really impressed with the standing order. They felt it was very easy to do, and they were a bit. They didn't really like the cash system where they had to remember to bring the couple of quid to training each week. So they much preferred to have that out of the way, and all they had to do was drive there and bring the kids really in their athletics gear to get going. So that was quite good to see it from a customer point of view, from a member's point of view, that they really appreciated the club putting that together. So I've got a short video which me and Glyn put together. I'll play that now, and then after that, while the video's going, if you would like to put any questions to Glyn, and we'll see if we can get some answers for you. Thanks for joining us, Glyn. Glyn's from Horwich Harriers near Bolton, and what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the club going cashless. So we're just going to ask Glyn a couple of questions from the club, and then would like to sort of hear your thoughts and experiences, and share the good practice what you're currently doing down at the club, if you don't mind, Glyn.
No problem at all. Thanks.
Lovely, that's great. So the first question is, why did the club feel the need to change?
A couple of reasons, really. The first reason was that society's changed, so lots of people don't carry cash and don't like carrying cash. That was one of the reasons. And the other one was to eliminate coaches collecting cash on a night. So we had 3-4 training nights with 4 or 5 different coaches all collecting the weekly subs, holding onto them. So it was really to get away from coaches holding onto cash at home and things like that.
Great. And you've had the cashless sort of system in play for about 3 years, is it roughly round about now? And
2 years now.
2 years, yeah. And what did the transition look like for you as a club? How did you get to it from being cash to cashless?
We had a bit of discussion at committee for probably 3 or 4 months on setting the price and how we could set the price. Once we decided to go cashless, it was a case of issuing standing order forms to all the junior athletes' parents, and then just pushing them to fill it in. We went on a trial basis first just to see how it went. So initially it was hard work setting it up, but once everyone got on board, it was quite straightforward.
Great. And then from sort of an administration point of view, using the EA portal for your annually sub collection, what made you choose EA's portal rather than rather than the external portals outside?
To be honest, because it's there and easy to use and it's free. A lot of the other portals have got a yearly charge. And granted, they do a couple of other bits that the EA portal doesn't, but them other bits we don't use. We just wanted the membership, just to use it for the membership portal. So it was free, it was dead easy to use. And our membership secretary looked at a couple of others, but decided that this was all that we needed.
Great. And then finally, just wanted to sort of, if there's any kind of tips or any learning points, what you could share with the attendees tonight, just on what any difficulties or challenges you faced from going cashless to cash. Sorry, the other way around, cash to cashless.
Yeah, a couple of things really. I mean, from my point of view, I wish we'd done it sooner. So I would say if people are thinking about it, don't think about it, just do it, because it makes life so much easier. And setting the price at the right level for both the club and the athlete. We used to charge so much per session, and when we went to monthly subs, we made it so that it was slightly cheaper, so it was more advantageous to set up the standing order than carry on paying the weekly subs. So initially we didn't make it mandatory. So getting your price right for both the club and the athlete, I would say, is the best bit of advice I can give. And don't think about it too long, just do it.
Lovely. Thanks for that short video and insight into the club, and really appreciate your time.
No worries, thanks, Nick.
No worries. Brill. So I can see a couple of questions have come in after that video. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly bring some of them questions to light. And Glyn, I was going to say I'm happy to kind of answer a few, but if you wanted to kind of maybe come off mic if I'm struggling or I'm getting the wrong way. Oh, cheers, Steph. That's great. I can hear you. You've come off mic, off mic, so that's off mute. So that's good. Yeah. Can everyone hear Glyn before he gets going? Do you want to just say a few words, Glyn?
Yeah. I'm willing to answer any questions, Nick. You can try and cover, but if there's anything you want me to jump in, that's no problem.
Okay, brill. Great. So how do you track attendance that people training are members and have paid? So probably I'll answer that if you want, Glyn, because I was going to say that question came this morning. The club has a policy where everyone who signs up has to go onto the standing order. So whoever turns up to training will be on that standing order. So they don't need to keep track from a payment point of view. The attendees. So hopefully that's answered that question. Is there any? Let me see. Oh, great. Cheers, Steph. How did you set your membership fee if you have 3 to 4 training nights? And what about those who train 1 and 2 nights? I was going to say if you want to take that one, that's fine. Yeah.
What we did, we looked at most of our athletes, our junior athletes, train 2 nights. Some are doing 3 nights. They were previously paying £2.50 per session. So what we looked at was setting our price that it was beneficial for the ones that were training 2 nights and the 3 nights. So basically you pay the same fee regardless of how many nights you train. And when we did our workings out on setting our fees, we got the figures that were coming out just showed that we didn't have to set a really high cost. So it was £2.50 a week for training, and our monthly subs are £12 a month. So all the athletes are actually saving money, even if they were training twice a week, they're saving money. The ones that are training 3 times a week are saving even more money. And then obviously our profits have gone up huge. And that example that Nick set of making almost £10,000 a year more just track fees alone, that is what's happened with our club. We've made that much money more than what we did the previous time.
And it's really interesting, that point, because I think it's a great example, Glyn, of you've kind of gone away, had a look at kind of your cost from a club point of view. What do we need to cover, or how much profit do we want to make to put back into the club? And it seems like the cash way. Do you want to kind of illustrate kind of a little bit deeper of what issues you faced when you were collecting them and how, sort of it was kind of like people just not turning up with the correct money, was it, or it was skipping a week? And
it's people not turning up with the correct money, people skipping weeks. So like one training session you could have 6 athletes there, the week after you could have 12, and then so what's happening now, you're getting the regular income from them 12 whether they train or whether they don't, which is what a lot of other clubs do, like gymnastics and dance and all these other different clubs. You pay regardless of whether you train. And what we noticed, once we set the standing order and people were paying monthly, the attendance at the training sessions also went up. So because they was paying for it, they tended to turn up every week. Whereas some weeks they wouldn't, when they were just paying the £2 or £2.50, they just didn't turn up. So now you've got better cash flow because the money's coming in every month. You've got better attendance at your sessions because parents are making sure the kids are going, because it's almost as if, well, I'm paying for it, so I'm going to take you. And overall, it's just been, everything about it has just been successful, really.
Great, brilliant. should we move on to Jeremy's question, Steph, regarding kind of like the one-off payments? Do you want to take this one, Glyn, or do you want me to?
I mean, I can just. This is one that we're actually, I think I spoke to you about this, Nick.
Yeah.
Just in the process of trying to sort this out, because what we've noticed is obviously we've released bank details to our members. So what's happening now, which we're trying to sort by probably getting a different bank account, is when the likes of cross country and track events are coming up, people are just paying money into our account, and it's getting really difficult to track it. So we're just in the process of setting up an account, a specific account for annual payments like cross-country entries and things like that. And we'll set a criteria of how they document the payment. So we'll literally have one bank account that is just for training standing orders, and then we'll have another one for the annual stuff as well.
I'm not too sure if we've touched on this, but to track the actual payments. So when your secretary, your membership secretary does start sort of cross-checking, you get them to put the surname in, don't you, as the reference, so you can kind of tick them off the sheet. So there's kind of a continuity there. Yeah. Real. Is there any other questions there, Steph? Do you charge a weekly fee for seniors as well? Yeah, I was going to say that this model is only working for juniors at the club at the moment. So they're doing it, potentially looking to do it in 2 phases. So they've looked to get the juniors all at standing order in cashless, and I believe the next step is potentially working on the seniors in that side. Am I incorporating that right?
That's right.
That? Yeah.
It's not as easy to get change from seniors as it is from
Definitely. I agree. Brilliant. Hopefully that's answered your question, Margaret. That they're kind of working on the seniors, but wanting to get the juniors sorted first. Great. Do you want to take this one, Glyn, about trialists?
Yeah. That's a good point, because we do have 2 induction nights where we take junior trialists, and currently they do pay cash. What we found is at the induction groups, a couple of people, well, not a couple, there's a few that come as in an induction group, and they just like the being involved in the club. They don't want to go anywhere else, and they just like just staying and coming, doing that once or twice a week. We found that parents, even though they're not members, these athletes, we've had quite a number of parents that have set up a standing order for them as well, just because it's so much easier than bringing £2.50 down every week. And because we've set the price at, even though they only train once a week, so it's only £10 a month to pay £2.50, because we're only charging 12, they're not really bothered about the £2 difference. So we're finding that they're setting standing orders up as well, even though they're only trialists.
Great, cheers. And then is the one about Sally? Sally's question. Oh yeah. How much admin per month would you say your secretary has?
Once you get the bank statements, and it's basically a case of a list of junior members, bank statements in front of you, it takes half an hour.
And I was going to say, if you add up that time, rather than say sitting there with someone collecting subs every Tuesday, Thursday, and it takes them kind of an hour each night, and then cashing it, counting it. Yeah, you kind of.
Sorry, there's a little bit more admin sometimes if for some reason a standing order just stops, but we basically have them on a spreadsheet with the names, and because it's been set up like that now, the names are in order as they appear on the statement. So it's a case of tick, 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 and you just tick your way through. And occasionally standing orders do get stopped, but then what we then use is the EA portal to email the parent to say that the standing order's been stopped, because we're already on there anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's really good insight. Thanks for that. Sally asked one more question, it looks like. Can you see that one, Glyn?
I can, yeah.
How many? Yeah.
We've not really had an issue on that with the juniors. To be honest, we have about 170 junior members, and we do take them off track as well. Some sessions are off track, but we've never had anybody complain. And I think it's all down to setting the price at the right level. I think because it's only £12. For me, that's what we've come across, the fact that it's £12 a month. We're not charging a really high price. They think it's just good value, even if they train once or twice or 3 times. We've just not had that issue about them going off track. The seniors, we're not sure whether we're going to go down the standing order route with the seniors, I've got to be honest, because a lot of the senior sessions are off track. There's only 1 session a week on track. So we will probably leave the seniors as they are for the time being.
Great, cheers for that. And I think Dave's asked, yeah, hopefully that's helped, Sally. And then there's what David's just asked regarding who pays the small gateway fee. So the actual club would have to sort of absorb that. So it'd just be, so if you're setting, say, your yearly membership through the portal, then you would just have to kind of take into consideration the amounts. So if it's, I think it was 25p and around 2%. So if you just kind of take into consideration, if you're doing say a £30 membership all in, it's just add that on. So you might just say £31 just for easy maths, or £30.50. So hope that helps, David. Great. So I think that Sally and David are just typing away, but I think they're going to be hopefully. Thanks, David. And then Sally, do you have a membership fee for the year on top of training fees, as in?
Yeah, we have an actual membership fee as well. Yeah. So
your annual memberships are probably roughly around about what Sally said there, really, isn't it? Does that sound about right?
It's 28 for juniors and 35 for seniors currently.
Yeah. Brill, lovely. So no, really appreciate you jumping in on that, Glyn, and taking a few questions. I think it's been really valuable, that. So no, thanks very much. But yeah,
if anyone wants to contact me and ask me any questions after this, I'm quite happy for you to give my email address out or my phone number, whichever you prefer.
Brill. I tell you what we'll do is if anybody wants your contact details, I'll ask them to email me, and then I'll kind of copy you both into an email. Then we'll do it that way. So if anybody wants that to take up that offer, I'll drop my email address into the chat box now for everyone. Brill. Oh, Steph, do you mind doing that for me, if that's okay? Lovely. And do you mind just dropping onto mute now, Glyn? Oh, thanks. Great stuff. So basically, the next club what we're going to talk about is Chester Road Running Club. So they're slightly different to, say, Horwich's example, where they only want to collect an annual membership. They're a club in the region of 500 plus, and they're more senior. So they use a system called Membership Mojo. So potentially some of you might be aware of this system already. They utilize it. It's an online membership payment system, very similar to England Athletics secretary portal, but probably has just a few extra functions than our system. The membership pays through PayPal or card, and it costs the club around about £140 per year. I think they've got about up to 1,000 members with their package, and then obviously you have to add on the gateway fee per transaction for the transactions and so on. But that, again, similar benefits from them using the membership mojo. Handles the payments easily. They keep a register of attendance. It can send reminders. It provides them with a membership card. This is an extra cost. I believe it's around about £2 to £3 for each card. And then I think this is the one what the club really liked was the function of they could pay for social events. So they could set up social events and get them to book through there. And then there's basically a daily summary of activity sent to the administrator as well, so they can keep tabs on that. And then for the club, why did they change? So that they felt the processing paperwork was too much. They struggled to keep track with their finances and difficult to keep record of attendance. So that's why they kind of went ahead with this portal. And with the transition, they just felt moving from the paper system that all they had to do was summarize that on an Excel spreadsheet and then import the details onto the system. And the actual customer service helped them through that, and they're happy with the system and happy with the support what's being provided by them. But I just thought I'd highlight that club particular, just because we've potentially got a few road running clubs on the webinar tonight who potentially are just collecting one-off payments, which includes weekly subs. So we've got an example for collecting annual and weekly subs, and then a club which is just doing the annual membership. But for them, it's there. We will put the links into the system, or the software systems what we've mentioned, and at the end of the presentation. Has anybody got any questions on that one, which I can try and answer before we move on to the next club example? Take that silence as a yes. That's great. So the next one is the club example, and when I say shop example. So when I say shop, it doesn't have to be a track and field, a track and field club, and they've actually got a physical shop. This could be a road running club where you've got kit in the back of somebody's boot, and you just want to take a payment and so on. So this Doncaster AC club in Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, they've got probably a membership base of around about 600 plus. So they're quite a large track and field club. They use a card reader called SumUp, which I'm guessing some of you have probably already used in coffee shops and items like that previously. But they find this card reader really useful. Very low cost to get started. It's just a one-off fee what they paid, which was £19.99. I had a quick look on, and then obviously a small transaction fee. I had a look on the website last night, and they were charging £59 for the startup fee for the card. So it has increased in price buying it direct from SumUp, but you can actually buy the card from other retailers, and you probably can get it around about that price. So really cheap to get started. The club only has a minimum spend of £1, so basically it's around about 2% per transaction. So they're only losing 2p of the pound through that. So the benefits, what they found, it was very easy to set up through the app. So they downloaded the app, registered the club details, and they were pretty much straight away they would get going with that. Handles the payments easily, and this is probably one of the big ones for them, less cash on site. So sometimes we were sort of saying that there might have been a couple £100, up to £1,000 within on site, but with the card reader now, that's reduced that by near enough more than half, they were saying. And then the other benefits as well were receiving regular summaries by email. So they really found that useful, and it's speeded up the process of auditing the books with their accountant. So they were able to kind of basically generate kind of a sheet and pass it over to them to say this is what we've sold, etc. And then the money's in their account in between 1 and 3 days. So a quick turnaround once that transaction's been made. And probably just to give you a flavour of what the club said to me about it was that they take sort of payments from annual membership to kit, equipment, tuck shop stuff, as in suites and so on. So they might have a parent who might come in just to pay their annual membership, but because there's a card reader there, they might say, actually, we wouldn't mind getting a T-shirt or a jumper, and so on. So, if you're making making a bit of profit on your kit and equipment, you can utilize that straight away. So they're gonna spend more while they're there. So you've got a catchment audience. They found with the old system of just paying cash they would bring the exact amount and they wouldn't buy any more. So something to consider. But they found that really useful to have that. So everyone should have a card on them to make that payment. But I thought it would be a useful example to showcase to everyone. I've got a quick video of the sum up just to bring it to life for you. Only a quick 30-second video, and get it up right now.
This smart little box is the easiest way for your business to accept card payments. Just connect it via Bluetooth to your smartphone or tablet, and you're ready to take cards. Like this. This. And even like this. Then email, text, or print a receipt. You only pay 1.95% per transaction, and the money goes directly into your bank account. No fixed fees, no monthly commitment. Sum up, a better way to get paid.
Brill. So I just thought I'd show that just really simple video, and it shows you how easy it is to utilize. And they did say a fee of 1.95. So I believe at the bottom of the slide I've got a 1.69. That's just because of the situation we're in. They've dropped that price, so more people are paying by card than cash for the coronavirus at the moment through lockdown. So I'm not too sure if that will bump back up to 1.95. But there's not much difference in that anyway for the amount. So that brings us nicely on to sort of how you can implement this at your club. So just from thinking about the club examples, what I've give you and the rest of the presentation, has anybody got any questions now, what they would like to ask? Lovely. I can't see anybody typing, so I'll move on. So this particular club, I've worked with probably about a year or so ago in the northeast, Darlington Harriers. They're quite a similar model to Glyn's model from Horwich Harriers. They were having a cash process, but they wanted to use the EA portal, and I just thought I'd show you the kind of the process, what they had in place and what they moved it to. So as you can see, you've got kind of the person wants to join, they have to print off a form, the potential member completes the form, and that could take weeks, days for them to do that. Then the completed form with the check to the club. Payment is given to the treasurer, placed in the club account. They affiliate the payment by the treasurer, and then the members there. So quite a time-consuming kind of process what the club has, and potentially that might be what yours looks like currently. So Darlington decided to change the model, and this is kind of what it looked like. So obviously they've kind of reduced one box on this process, but the person would want to join. He just needs to go to, or her needs to go to the club website, and then completes the membership form, and that automatically gets sent to the membership secretary. Then the membership secretary registers them on the portal. This triggers an automatic email to the member. member pays at home wherever they want through that link what I mentioned earlier on. And then this automatically the affiliation gets automatically paid to England Athletics. So, and then the club membership goes to the club into the club account by backs. So really, they've really simplified it. So there's actually no need for that person to come down to the club, and there's not much paperwork for the membership secretary apart from copy and pasting that information into the portal for new members. But once that new member's on, then it's just basically a renewal request. So they're just a click of a button, and then that'll send out, and that will ask that person to update their information on the portal and so on. So yeah, so quite an easy process for the club. And then for me, the last bit for it would be speaking to. Just seeing Glyn's giving me a bit of info here. So from wanting to join to being registered, members can be done within 24 hours at Glyn's club. So that's pretty quick. So, and I'm guessing the old system, Glyn, probably would have took maybe, could have up to 2-3 weeks, just depending on that individual getting the money to you in some cases. So speaking to all the different clubs involved regarding kind of going cashless, this is how we kind of summed up the process really. So and for yourselves to go away. So have a think about what and how you currently collect money. Review and study the most relevant systems out there. So hopefully this webinar gives you a key indication of which way forward you need to go to. Speak to your members and committee to agree the direction the club wants to go into. I think that's important to get your kind of membership buy-in as well as your committee. Then I know it's easier said than done, but make the transition over to the new process. So there probably will be steps what you need to follow in that, which regardless which system you decide to pick. Then obviously inform your members of the change so everyone's clear what they need to do. And then this is more of a joke. Glyn found this quite funny, as in sit back and watch the money come in. But he did actually say it does exactly what it says on the tin. Really, compared to his old system, he would say, pretty much I would sit back and watch the money come in. So it's a bit of a light-hearted one that ending. But for me, that kind of concludes the webinar for this evening. I hope it's been useful for you and you've enjoyed the insight. Obviously, if you've got any questions, what you would like to ask now to either me or Glyn, I'm going to be here for the next 5-10 minutes to take them. Apart from that, thanks for your time. I'm going to put a short